Hey, everybody, and welcome to Tuesday Notary Titans. I'm thrilled that you guys are all here today and that we are all hanging out on a Tuesday together as we should be. I got to get my notes open here. Okay, we have already gone live on YouTube. So, for anybody that is joining us on YouTube, thank you for spending the next hour with us and listening to Tuesday Notary Titans. This is your standing invitation to the hottest room in the notary space, TNT. You know, we go live every Tuesday afternoon because our businesses do not take the summer off. Now, we are here to sharpen your strategy, call out what's not working, celebrate what is, and make sure that the decisions you're making about your business are moving the needle for you. So show up ready. This is not just a vibe session, you guys. It is a work session. It's a ask me anything style call where no questions are off limits. Now, questions in the chat may or may not be answered. Priority is always going to be given to folks with their hands up. And Larry just gave us, boy, that timing was perfect, Larry. Larry just gave us a perfect example of how to raise his hand. You will find your raised hand link at the bottom of your Zoom screen. And thank you for your patience, Larry. We're going to get to your question in just a moment. I want you to check the chat today for any links that we talk about or any information that we need to pass on. That's where you're going to find all of that. And be patient with me. I'm working on that end too. So it's just going to take me an extra couple seconds today while Laura and Matt are away. You guys know they are usually with me. But Laura Biewer and Matt Miller today are at the National Association of Secretaries of State Conference representing notaries across the entire country. And we're so proud and so fortunate to have them there as representatives for each of us. My name is Jen Neitzel. I am the creator of Marketing for Notaries, the 5-point marketing system, the co-creator of the Certified Notary Trust Delivery Agent program, and author of On the Move. And I am absolutely thrilled to be here today. And my friend Amy Curtis, who is with the Notary Stars team, we were all there cheering them on last night. She's going to be helping us monitor things today. So thank you so much for that, Amy. All right, guys. I cannot wait for today to get into the meat of everything today because we are going to be talking all about marketing. Now, you guys know that the notary expert on this call is Miss Laura Biewer, closely followed by Matt Miller. Those two astound me each week with the knowledge they have about the practice of being a notary public. Now, you guys also know that my area of specialty is marketing. So while those two are away playing at the NAS conference and having a good time and learning and spreading the good word about the notary business, we're going to have a little fun today and talk about marketing because I don't want to give anybody the wrong bit of information. I do not know about notarizations nationally, just in my little home state of Texas. And it's different, as you know, from state to state. So this week, we are going to be talking all about marketing, 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 marketing. And I can't wait to get to your marketing question because I know you guys have them. I know you have lots of them. In fact, I've got several of them on my little question form if nobody has their hands raised. But I want to encourage you now, if you have any marketing related questions about your business, please go ahead, just like Larry, just like Debbie, go ahead and get your hands raised. I'm going to go over a few announcements to give everybody a few more minutes to get into the room and get comfortable. Now, we all know that Laura's new book, The Compassionate Notary, is available. And if you guys haven't gotten it, just you need to. It's if you do any kind of work in medical facilities, please check out Laura's book, The Compassionate Notary. It is absolutely a must-have for anybody in this business, honestly. If you have any marketing questions or don't have a marketing plan and you want to maybe find out a little bit more about how all that works and how it can help your business, I encourage you to get my book called On the Move. Now, I also want to have pass along a very special announcement from the National Notary Association. We've been talking for several weeks now, you guys, about this scam that's going along with notaries all across the country and how they're coming at us from the NNA source, Find a Notary or signingagent.com. If you get a scam email from either one of those two portals, the anything from the NNA, Find a Notary or signingagent.com, please report anything you think is suspicious to the support department at the NNA, and you can find that form linked in the chat. Um, if you get something from SnapDocs, the NNA does not need to know about it. But if it's coming in from if you're realizing it's from their websites, please be sure that you report that so that the NNA can do something about it. Now, I also want to let everybody know that the Oregon Secretary of State is having their very first notary conference ever. And it is happening August 13th and 14th in Salem. The attendees, the payments go for lunch and dinner and all the education, and you can register at the link in the chat. I know our friend Daniel Brewer said he was going to be there. I know my friend Siobhan that lives in Portland is going to be there. So hopefully, all of you Oregon notaries will be able to attend the Oregon conference. Another in-person event is happening in Northern California, Antioch to be exact, if that's where you live. This is through the Notary Family. Notary Family is a great notary resource, and they have invited Matt as a speaker. Laura may be there as a speaker if there's time, but Jeff Clark will be there. Joyce Gonzalez. There'll be a guest speaker on retirement planning. So registration's only $25 if you're able to be there. They would love to see you. And I do want to point out, Debbie reminded me in the chat, going back to the Oregon conference, Matt and Laura are going to be at that Oregon conference. So if you guys want to go meet them, um, that is the time to do it. Um, and Amy, I just want to tell you, no phone numbers allowed either. And let me just address that here. If you guys are coming into the call and your Zoom is not labeled with a name, and you don't have to put your first and last name if you don't want to. If your name's Julie and you want to put the name Susie, that's fine. That's your discretion. We are not allowing anybody who does not have a labeled Zoom account into the room for security reasons. Meaning, if you show up and your Zoom account is just your phone number, or it says owner, or it says iPhone, you're not going to get into the room. Okay. You need to rename your Zoom account with at least your first name so that we know who you are. There are some major hacks taking over public calls like this, and we just don't want to deal with any of that nonsense. All right. Well, not lastly, but almost lastly, I want to remind everybody about the American Guild of Notaries Public. This is a credentialing platform, a national credentialing platform. It is not a training website. It is a testing website, and it decides your level of knowledge and certifies you in that specific level. I know I'm not saying this right. Sorry, Lori normally does this one. But I do have the information in the chat if you guys want to check out more about the American Guild of Notaries Public. All right, now I got to see if my special guest is on the call here because my friend Susie from the
Hello,
NNA.
hello. I'm here.
Hi, she's here. Oh my gosh. Girl, I'm trying to run this. Thank God.
I understand. Like when I was doing that Zoom call, I was so glad that you hopped on as co-host because I was like, oh my gosh, I can't do it alone.
I know. Well,
So,
Amy Curtis just saved me on this one, girl. Let me tell you.
yay,
Thank
Amy.
goodness. Yes. So she volunteered to help. So thank goodness. Okay. You never realize how important it is and what those folks behind the scenes are
Yeah.
doing until they're not here. And then you're like, oh my God,
hmm
where did they go? I
Yeah,
missed
there's just
that.
so many moving parts and wanting to make sure that you see the questions and the chat and the,
Yeah.
it's a lot.
Well, Susie, do me a favor. Let's do a quick introduction, and on the off chance that somebody in the audience doesn't know who you are and your position at the National Notary Association.
Hi, everybody. Susie Sivkov. I've been with the National Notary Association for 22, almost 23 years now.
Wow.
I started out as an instructor, traveling all over the nation, teaching notary classes, and then I kind of moved around in the association to support different roles. I was a hotline counselor for a while. I was developing scripts and content and classes at one point in the product team. And currently, I'm the audience engagement manager. So I basically support just all of the connecting we do with our community, both virtually and live. I support conference and then some of the other events that we've started doing to make sure that we're kind of making connecting with you guys out there in the community. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and Susie, one of the things that you and I love to talk about is fear
Mm-hmm.
and mindset and all the woo-woo stuff. In fact,
Mm-hmm.
you were one of the reasons that Marketing for Notaries chose to do a woo-woo summer, talking all about those kinds of things,
Yeah.
getting stuck, confidence, all of that stuff. And you and I always really enjoy having those kind of conversations. So I hope that that is something that comes up today in conversation. But we've got some hands raised on
Okay.
this Ask Me Anything style call. So I'm going to start with them because I want to make
Yes.
sure we get those questions answered. And don't forget, guys, today we are focusing on the marketing component of being a notary business owner. So Larry is in San Francisco and he has a question for us. Hey, Larry.
Hey Jen, good
Hey.
afternoon, everyone. Uh,
Hi.
the question I have has to do with a an article or I guess a posting that I saw on Facebook yesterday
Okay.
about this person who does do, she called it daily marketing, where she actually goes around to local businesses who would be related and goes, he does a drop off. I guess that's the word for it, does a
Uh-huh.
drop off. And she said that when she runs across a business that has a no soliciting sign on it, she goes and researches the company, finds a contact in the company, and then calls and talks to them and tries to make an appointment to come
Hmm.
in and drop her information off. And she said that she considers that a difference between marketing and soliciting. And I
Mm.
wonder how you feel about that concept because I had never thought that there was a difference between marketing and soliciting. When I see no soliciting and I'm thinking about going into like drop off notary cards or anything, I'm like, all right, not gonna do it. But she found a
So
way
when
around.
where is she? You said she's going to title companies,
Yeah, or real
something,
estate
or real
offices,
estate
stuff like
offices.
that.
So that is a way to do it. And boy, that's a heavy lift, though. That's a lot of work. But that is a way to do it. Certainly. Here's the difference between solicitation and marketing. Soliciting somebody is walking in and trying to sell them something, anything, magazines. I've had people come in and try and sell perfume before in an old office. You know, I don't know, a subscription to a golf club, something that has nothing to do really with your business, okay? Or they're coming in and they're trying to get you to come to their church or get you to come to their function or whatever it is. That's soliciting. Marketing is a targeted conversation about how you can help that business. You are going in there because you have an offer to help that business, not because you're selling something randomly. That's solicitation. To be honest with you, and I know this might cause a few gasps on the phone, I ignored those no soliciting signs because I have a product that those title companies, those real estate companies, they need. They may not realize it yet, and that's my job to inform them of it and explain it. But that is the difference there. And do you see that difference between solicitation and marketing? That's what those signs mean though. Like I'm working, I don't want to have somebody come in and try and sell me a magazine subscription, right? Like please don't bother me. But you have a product that can help my business. I would be interested in hearing about that. And if I'm not, then it's perfectly fine for me to say no, thank you and move on about my day.
Great. That the essence of my question was the difference between marketing and soliciting.
Yeah, and
It
that's it. That's it. Yeah, soliciting could be anything, but when you're downtown, aren't you? You're in the city of San
Yeah,
Francisco. So the folks that you go talk to is because you know you can help them with your services. And so you almost have to tell yourself like you're doing them a favor. That's kind of the mindset shift there. Susie, do you have anything you want to add to this
You
one?
just took the words out of my mouth. It's the mindset. When you walk in, your mindset always has to be, how can I help you, not help me,
Mhm.
or,
Yeah.
uh, let me see how you can help me. It's always has to be from the position of, I'm here because I'm going to help you with something.
That's
And I think
actually
that's the
also
mindset
how you
shift.
turn that smarmy sales feeling off that
Yes,
we all hate
exactly.
because none of us
Yeah.
want to feel salesy and gross. Like, I mean, ugh. But that's how you turn it off is switching your mindset to I'm offering a product to help these people. They may or may not want it, and that's okay. That's up to them. But I do have something that could help this office. So hopefully that helps, Larry.
yes, thank you. And that feeling
Awesome.
you were talking about, Jen, I call it plaid jacket. How to take off the plaid jacket.
The plaid jacket, and like as a salesperson,
Oh my
Yes,
gosh, I've never heard that. I love
I've never
that.
heard
Take
that.
off the plaid jacket.
I
yes,
Love
always
it.
think of the guys, I always think of like pictures from like the mid 70s with
right.
the guys like with, the big hair and the chains around their neck and like the shirt buttoned down to their belly. It doesn't start to their belly button. Like the
Well,
disco era. That's how it feels in my head.
for those of us who are old enough to remember WKRP in Cincinnati,
Oh, I loved
their
that show.
sales guy was someone who wore
Yes.
a plaid jacket
Yes.
and had and big hair. So I always think of the sales attitude
That's
as
so funny.
plaid jacket.
And thank you for aging both of us today, Larry. I appreciate that. Thanks
But
for the
thank
question. That's
you.
a great question, though. And I think, it's been a long time since we've addressed that. So I appreciate you bringing that up today. All right, Debbie, my friend Debbie, and also in the Bay Area. What's up, girl? Oh my God,
Well,
somebody just put Les Nessman in the in the chat. That's hysterical. Hey, Debbie, what's going on?
I went to a meetup on last Thursday through Alignable,
Hmm.
and I'd been at home in my condo for 4 days, and I'm like, I have to get out of here and go do something and meet some people.
Good for
So
you.
I went to this meetup through Alignable just to see what it was and what they had to say. And it was just meeting other business owners.
Hmm.
And I met some really, really cool people. One of them was with an AI company, and he opened my eyes to so many things about AI. And I'm just wondering how many people are currently using AI to help run their notary business.
All right, put a one in the chat if you are in the audience and you use AI to help you run your notary business. Because I'll tell you what, Debbie, I do. Look at all those one. Celicia puts a two. Really, Celicia? Oh my God, that's hysterical. Yeah, there's a lot of ones in there. So, Debbie, are you trying to think of ways that you could use AI to support your business, or just curious how many people are doing it?
Well, so I'm going to enroll in the CNTDA course. So I was
Yeah.
doing some research about trust attorneys or family law attorneys in my area. And I was manually entering them into a contact list. I would not say that it's a CRM, but this guy said, you know, AI can do that for you. And not only can they add the name, address, email, phone number, they can search their social media and tell you, who likes to golf, who likes to hike, who like,
Yep.
something about that person, and have it in the notes or wherever I want to store that information, so that when I go to call them, it's already there
Yep.
in my data container, whatever I decide to use. And I was like, oh my God, I just spent, 6 hours doing data entry. And,
Uh-huh.
and he said it can do it faster and better. And I'm like, oh my God, all right. And then he also
Wait till you
said,
see what it could do to help you with other things in your business too, like planning your social media, writing all your blog posts, all those other things.
those things I'm not currently doing, you mean? Those?
Yeah, those things. Yes. Those things. Yeah, it's really mind-boggling what all the things that you can do. And um I'm just starting to kind of dig into AI a little bit deeper than what I've been using it for. And um, I'll just tell you, if this is where your head is, you're getting ready to join the CNTDA problem, you're going to be blown away with what's coming up in August at CNTDA, because we are putting some AI tools in place to help everyone um, with things like learning documents, practicing your elevator pitch, all of that kind of stuff, so that you guys can get some real time practice in the program. So you'll be
Well, I
happy with
got
that.
the elevator pitch down. They just went around in a circle. We stood up and introduced myself. And I got up and said my name, and I said, I prevent fraud. And
Yeah.
everybody looked at me. And then I went on, and I had the room's attention. And
That's all it
later
takes.
on, this other person who I'd never heard of before stood up and said, I'm a notary too. A very meek
Oh,
voice.
nice.
And she sat down. Um, she did anyway. She ended up not wowing the group at all, but I did go up and get her card, we
Always
can
stay
talk
in touch,
after.
right? That's
Yeah.
that's the thing. Always stay in touch. Thanks for that. And for we got that informal poll, and it looks like a lot of notaries are using AI to help them with their business. So you get in there and just mess around with it. That's how you learn.
Well,
And
thank you.
if you ask it, how can I connect you to my CRM or whatever you're using, and have, help me update all my contacts, it'll do it for you. It'll tell you exactly what to do. It's pretty cool that way.
Okay. We'll be
Thanks, Debbie.
talking.
Thanks, Debbie.
Bye.
Yes. Well, you know how to get in touch with me.
Yep.
Daniel Brewer is in Oregon and Washington. I know he's going to be attending the Oregon conference coming up in August. Hi, Daniel.
Not only am I going to be attending, but I will be hosting the pizza party
Nice.
the night before the conference. It's at a pizza parlor in Salem. So
Nice.
hopefully we got people showing up there. We can kind of have an informal gathering the night before.
Very
And
cool.
since you guys are talking about books, soon to come out in audiobook,
Oh, really?
soon to come out an audiobook is the Book of
Good.
Customer Service. So, and it will be available at the conference as well as, and I'll put it in my website so you guys people want to order a copy. Because if you don't have good customer service and don't know really what you're doing, then you're gonna struggle with anything you do marketing wise is going to fall away.
Absolutely.
Also,
Amen.
the last caller was talking about the elevator pitch and stuff. I would love to say that we're going to be working on that's the kinds of things we work on at the Notary Master Speakers Bureau,
I got your
which meets
email this
on
morning.
Thursday with a wonderful summer theme of Route 66. We're going to travel the country and we're going to kind of see what all things are going on in the state. And we will be meeting at 9:30 this Thursday Pacific time. And I will also put the link to that meeting in the Zoom when I'm done here.
Very
So,
cool. I've got your book in the chat, so you don't need to worry about that one.
okay, perfect.
Um,
That's awesome.
yeah.
So my question is this. One of the things about the marketing are your updated headshots for your social media and for everything. I don't look much different than I did 12 years ago when I did my last one, but I now have got like shirts with my logo on them and stuff. How frequently should we be updating that photograph? And
That's a really good question, and at how top of mind for literally my husband and I were just my husband just started his own business, Daniel, and he just booked an appointment with the lady that does my headshots and Laura's headshots, and he was like, how often should I be doing this? And what do you think? We were literally just having this conversation a couple hours ago, and I think that's really up to you and your budget and how much you're paying for them, all that kind of stuff. Um, I would like to have mine done once a year. I've been in business since 2019 and I've had them done 3 times. So that tells you everything you need to know about how that happens. Time goes just by so quickly. But I do think it's important. And it's not just about how you've changed and what you've looked at. When you're scrolling on social media or you're looking at and you've looked at somebody's website and you see them on Google Business Profile, if all their pictures are the same, when you look at the same thing over and over again, what happens? You're look like when you're reading,
Dale,
yeah, you can't see it anymore. You've looked at it so much, you stop seeing it. And I kind of think about the pictures that way too. Um, when I release, like Laura and I just came out with our new headshots not too long ago, like right after the NNA conference, actually. And it feels great because you're getting some new content, but I always notice for that first a week after new pictures come out, you get that pop of more people stopping and looking at your things because it's a new photo that they're not used to seeing. If you post the same picture all the time, people are just going to breeze right past it. So I would say once a year now. I will tell you, my daughter will tell you twice a year. I think that's a bit excessive, but she's in the social media space. That's what she does. So every industry has different perspective. But yeah, it is definitely something I would think about um, maybe once a year, if not every 2 years. Susie, what do you say? Oh,
Sorry, I
she's
had
got.
to find the mute button. I I was I was gonna say basically repeat what you said. I mean, you keep taking the words right out, but for me, I feel like people start glazing over if
Yeah,
it becomes too familiar. And I
yeah.
always notice when people have
Mhm.
fresh headshots. Like especially you, Jen. I follow your journey, and I just love when the new one comes out.
The new
And
ones come
the
out.
ones that you do with Laura, just like all of the fun things that you guys do
Yeah.
to like mix it up. But yeah, the more content you have, the better.
Mhm.
And not only that, but it also makes you feel fresh.
It
It
does.
just kind of like it doesn't just spark fresh in your visuals, but also I feel
In your
like any
brain.
kind of movement like that helps move your
Mhm.
mind, move your inspiration.
Yeah.
So always a good idea.
Yeah, absolutely. Does that answer your question, Daniel?
yeah, I just want to tell Larry I'm not getting rid of my plaid jacket.
You
Sorry,
hang on
bud.
to that plaid jacket.
I'm hanging on to and my white disco coat, even though I can't wear it anymore. I'm keeping
Do
both of
you
them.
have white leather shoes though?
I do not have white leather shoes,
Okay.
but I was about half my height and about half my weight back then too. So
We were all
I
about half
can't
of our
wear
weight back
I
then.
I can't wear anything anymore, but I'm still keeping it. So
Yeah, there you
so
go.
take
That's what
care. Thank
closets
you.
are for, right? Thank you. All right, well, let's get to a question on our question form here. These are directly from you guys. When you register for TNT, you can register a question if you have one, and you can go back anytime and do so. Um, so Susie, I'm gonna ask you these questions and let you get started. Are you comfortable with that?
Oh, yeah. As long as y'all are comfortable with me saying, you know what? I don't know. I'm going to have to
That's
look into
okay. I
that.
don't listen. I don't know everything.
Right? Right?
I had to take half the topics off the table today because Matt and Laura aren't here.
Yeah.
So
Hey, and that's why we are a community, and that's why we have the support and the resources we have.
yeah.
So that's
So this
right.
is a good one. And this actually, I kind of thought about you a little bit. I was like, oh, this would be a good one for Susie when I was reading it. But it says, I need to figure out who my customer target is. I do mostly loan signings. is my customer service link Signature Closers, or is it Chicago Title of Wisconsin or ABC Law Firm of Georgia that hires the signing service? Or is it Joe Signer that I'm meeting face to face in Tennessee? Or is it some combination of all of the above? With general notary work and trust, it seems to a certain degree it's a little more clear cut, but with loans, it usually isn't. And
Okay.
I thought that was a really good question
Yeah.
because I know I felt that way in the
Yeah.
beginning too. Like, wait, who's my customer?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the answer is all of the above,
Yeah.
right?
Right. Yeah.
Um, but for different reasons. So, if let's start with the first part. I think they were mentioning signing services.
Hmm.
And so, if you're new in this industry, like the signing service is basically kind of a middleman that connects you, the notary, to the company that needs the documents notarized, like the lender, the title agent. So basically, as the signing services, they're hiring you to go do the job, but then they submit the documents ultimately to the title company, the lender, whoever is kind of in charge of getting it all done. So signing services actually that's a great place to start before you start
Hmm.
building relationships with title companies and lenders and direct work. And so the signing service is a great place to start. And you must know that signing services, their goal is to get the job done quickly, get it booked, right? So you have to be ready for a job last minute.
Hmm.
You have to be ready to be flexible. And when you're first starting out, you might take some of the jobs that later on might seem like less, um, less appealing jobs. But when you're first starting out, it's just a great way to show these companies that you're available and that you're ready to
Hmm.
work with them. When you do the job, then they're going to turn around and rate you. A lot of these signing services actually have scorecards to determine whether or not you're going to show up at the top of their list to call again. If I'm working as a signing services and I'm looking for notaries, if I call you and you don't answer, or if you do end up doing a bad job, I'm going to mark those things on the file. I'm going to call the person who seems to be available the most and who does the job well.
Yeah.
And so that becomes your customer ultimately at the beginning. Um,
Hmm.
the signer, the person you're actually notarizing for, they're your customer from a different aspect because ultimately they're the one that has to be happy and they're the one that you're taking care of during the
Hmm.
signing. And so, if they complain, they turn around and complain, then that of course is going to fall badly on you through the signing service. But also remember this, when you're performing notarizations for a signer, even if they're not the one that hired you, they're going to turn around and need a notarization someday in the future for something else.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I hear this all the time, where people say, "Oh, I had this notary come to my house and I loved them. And so now that's my go-to notary. I use them for other things, right?" And so they become a potential customer for life. And the
Yeah.
better you show up, the better you treat them, the more professional and competent you are, the more likely you've got a customer for life.
Yeah.
And then let's jump to the title companies and lending services, the direct work. So once you do some signings, you kind of got into the groove of how you're doing this stuff, then you can start reaching out to direct companies to get
Hmm.
direct work. And when you do that, you're building relationships with those direct companies. And of course, Jen can tell you all about that. And then they start hiring you directly, which means the middleman's not taking a cut. So you usually get paid more. And uh, then you've got this company that's going to rely on you, and again, the more you show up and the more you do a good job, the more they're going to turn and say, "I need this person to do the job," because they can always count on them.
Yeah.
So I know the answer was a little bit broad, but
But that's the answer. It is all
yeah.
three because
Hmm.
you know the saying poo poo rolls downhill. So any opportunity that the signing service, the title office, or even the direct customer, the buyer or seller that you're signing with, they're often asked to fill out a survey. And a couple of those questions are about the notary. And they will be the first, any of those three places will be the first to point the finger downhill at the notary because that deflects from them having to take
Exactly.
responsibility for anything.
Right.
It's been happening forever. I mean, I was in mortgage for way too long, over a decade, and it was happening all the time then. And that I've been in this space since 2017. So that's just kind of how it rolls.
Hmm.
The book of good customer service that Daniel was
Yeah.
talking about will teach you how to deliver good customer service across all of those
Yeah.
customers that you have. So I
Well,
think,
and I focus mostly on the loan citing work, but I
yeah.
think the question also asked about trust work or just general notary work, and so when it comes to the trust work, I mean, you're the one that's coaching on how to find these attorneys who need notaries to go to their customers and these trust attorneys, and then how to build those relationships. And again, the more you're available and the more that they can trust you to get the job done properly, the more you represent them in a good way, the more they're going to want to use you. But of course, again, the signer that you're meeting with will have an opinion on that and will have an
Mhm.
impact on whether those attorneys can trust you. When it comes to general notary work, again, every time that you notarize for anyone in any capacity, they could be a potential customer down the line for something else when they
Absolutely.
are traveling for a high school trip,
Mhm.
to the next thing when they go to college, and then the next thing when they get married, and then they
Yeah.
adopt a child and they're
Mhm.
traveling with their child, and then
Mhm.
God forbid divorce, and and the trusts, and buying their first house. The list goes on and on.
Yeah. Yeah. As you age, you have more options for notarizations in your life, obviously.
Mhm.
So meeting with people and becoming their preferred notary is
Yeah,
all of our goal, right?
yeah.
So that you can serve them for a lifetime. So thank you for
And
that
Laura,
perspective.
Laura wrote a book called Compassionate Notary that talks about
Mhm.
how you end up making that kind of relationship happen in hospitals and retirement centers.
Yeah.
And again, understanding the industry for which you're notarizing will make all the difference in whether or not it'll be a stick. It'll stick.
And that is why good training is so important.
Yep,
So let
yep,
me
yep.
put that. Oh, okay. Hold on. Oops, that didn't come all the way through. Sorry. It's coachmelora.com/books if you guys want to check out the Compassionate Notary. But our friend Diana here in Texas, who is also an NNA ambassador, has a question. Hi, Diana.
Hi. It's not so much a question. Susie is so on point, and so are you. It is a life cycle when you get those connections going. But to piggyback and maybe add more to that answer, if they're asking like, who do you call when you've got a question or whatever,
Mhm.
um, the thing is whoever hired you is usually the hotline that you pick up and
Yeah.
call from the table, unless because I've got a couple of customers where it says you can talk directly to the escrow officer, but most of them will say do not. But there are a couple of
Mhm.
exceptions, so it just depends
Who
where that
hired you?
is really
Yeah.
going to. So maybe that's just a little clarification.
No, thank you for that. You're absolutely right. When it comes to loan signings, it's who hired you that you go directly to ask questions after reviewing first, of course, the instructions they sent you. And if you still have questions, yes, definitely go to that hiring party. If you were hired by SnapDocs, you don't want to go to the mortgage originator or the title company to ask questions if SnapDocs hired you. And I think that's an important distinction to point out. Thank you for reminding me about that. All right, guys, who else has some marketing related questions for us today? Susie and I are here to answer all of those for you, but I'm so glad I got a chance to start with that question because I think that's a really good one, especially for folks focused on loan signings. Here's another one from our question, our pile of questions. Um, I want to improve. I'm gonna move this around. It says, I want to improve my Google business profile and my LinkedIn page, and I can't find the right resources to guide me in doing this. Do you have advice, a course, or a tutorial to offer? Well, I want to talk about Google Business Profile. Um, Google Business Profile is a free service, and there are bukus of videos and things like that on YouTube that you can watch. Of course, there's our friend Jim Allen, who has his Google Business Profile course that is offered through the High Performance Notary Coach Network, is I think that's what it's called now. And so they are also able to help you. But I wanted to let you guys know that there's a new feature that Google Business Profile is now offering. They just came out a couple of days ago, where Google will now connect to your social media. Have you guys heard about this? Where Google is now allowing you to connect through your social media so that your SEO will also scrape your social media and help you, move up the coveted top three spot in Google. So do a little research on that. I'm still learning a little bit about it, and I do plan on putting something together for you guys, so that you can take advantage of that. But there's so much influx happening with in the digital world between how do I manage my SEO for my website, plus, all the things I have to do for social media, plus, you know, whatever other, electronic things you might have out there, Google Business Profile, LinkedIn, all of that. And I'm seeing how it's all starting to kind of come together, where I think, is eventually going to be the one that we're going to be focusing most on. Have any of you fed AI your business information yet? Daniel, you have?
I wanted to help with this question. I hope it's okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, this is where your AI, your favorite AI bot, and I'm not advertising one over another, whichever one you like, whether it's Gemini or
Yeah.
ChatGPT or Claude or Copilot. Just be specific as what you want, and you'll get that profile update the way you want it. And if
Mhm.
you say you want it loaded with these keywords, it'll load it up for you. AI can do so much of the heavy lifting here for you. And I did not know that Google was going to connect with some of the other. I know it doesn't work and play with all of them, but I know that it's trying. They're trying, but I feel like this is where. And remember, Google about 6 months ago dropped Google search in favor of Gemini AI. So
Mhm.
they're all in on it, and I
Yeah.
think that's probably how they're able to do it. But absolutely, if people want to like bolster their LinkedIn profile, use your AI bot, because I tell you what, I was getting it wrong because I was doing it using parallels from 10 years ago, the last time I really felt I needed it. And it was fascinating. It took about 20 minutes
Mhm.
and to get it to say it the way I wanted it to say it. And then it was a cut and paste.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was pretty easy, a lot easier than I thought it was gonna be. And it was pretty good. I also wanted to point out too, because I'm probably not going to get to talk to you again for a couple of weeks, but on the marketing, sprinkle those business cards around like fairy dust. That's
Yeah.
just my favorite. My favorite thing is when I leave 10 cards at the front desk of a facility, and I come back with 10 signings out of it. So, but AI is going to be the answer to this question, and I would really, if people are scared of it, then step your toe into something like Copilot, which you may already have without knowing it. Gemini is free. All of these have a free
Yeah,
level.
you don't have to
So,
commit to anything.
so,
And
it's just fascinating how don't be scared of it because it knows you might be scared of it, and if you want to be turned into, give your favorite bot a name, and then call it something, and then it becomes a friend and
yeah,
becomes a helper. So.
yeah. So, how did you feed AI information about your business so that people could look you up on AI?
I just said, hey, well, I already had a very robust LinkedIn profile with my other work I was doing. And I
Hmm.
said, look, I'm now semi-retired. My notary business is my prime income. These are things I want people to know about my business. And I listed maybe five things. And then I also listed about five keywords I wanted people to know about. I wanted them to say, for example, in Oregon, I wanted them to say Washington County. I wanted them to say facilities such as uh, nursing homes and so forth. I put the name of the hospital in here because I'm their primary notary and I want to remain that. And then I put
Yeah.
a few other things in there, apple seals or whatever it is I wanted them to put. Not too complicated. And I said, and I want a bulleted list. And
Hmm.
by golly, I got spit out a bulleted list for the purpose section of my LinkedIn profile that was so good. I was like, okay, I had to be specific about how I fed the information. And if you don't like it, say, okay, do the same thing again, but let's include these things. Or, it might take a while, but when you're done, I mean, it's amazing, and it writes it in good English. There's no misspellings. I do still run stuff through Grammarly because I don't trust
I
some,
do too. The grammar on
but
most of these is not correct.
but um, but I feel like I mean, I thought I was going to be spending a full day on this. I ended up spending about less than an hour, and then I
Yeah.
used the same thing when I was
Isn't
going
that great when that happens?
into the other platforms I was using, and it was I have a profile. Well, I did have a profile with signing agent, or excuse me, blah, 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 notary assist marketing.
Hmm.
That ended, of course, a few weeks ago, but I fed that same information. And if it's a little different kind of a tool, then tweak it a
Hmm.
little bit. But I'm
Yeah,
gonna.
and that's how AI gathers its information is because humans, we feed it
Mhm.
information, right? I mean, it scrapes things from the web too, obviously. But if you put information in your own AI chatbot, then across the world, that's going to be out there for people to find out about. So because people are using Claude and ChatGPT and Gemini, et cetera, to instead of going to Google search bar now, find a notary near me, they're going to Chat GPT and saying, how can I find a notary near me? And so those will, pop up if you fed it. So hopefully you guys are feeding. You only need to really do it once. I don't think you need to do it across all of them. I
I
think you
put
just,
I put the same copy and paste the same thing into Notary Cafe, Notary Rotary. I just use the same because the
oh
same
yeah,
information I wanted in there. So
yeah. Well, and that aligns you across all platforms, which makes it even easier to find for these bots to find you. So, Susie, you guys use AI at the National Notary Association, I'm assuming.
Oh yeah. You know, in my particular department, we use it a lot for content creation, creating the,
Hmm.
the social calendar. I will say this, like if you're just creating a bulleted list for, profiles, that's pretty standard. But when it comes to AI for content creation, um, you do want to go in and personalize it because, at
Yeah,
least in my opinion, it'll spit out this great script, but it won't really have a lot of personality. And I know that, Claude can get to know your personality and make it more you, but I just always feel like it's important to take the time um, to make it feel more human.
yeah,
But when it comes to content creation and things like that,
yeah. I agree. And we
yeah.
have to remember that just because AI churns out an answer for us or a caption for an Instagram reel or something
Yeah.
or post doesn't mean it's necessarily good
Or
or
accurate.
or accurate. Like you
Yeah.
still need to check it. And if you
Yeah.
see something that isn't right,
hmm
obviously don't post it. But you can't take for granted that it's always going to give you the right answer.
Right, exactly. Yeah, we found
Yeah.
that to be true a lot.
Yeah.
And it's good for inspo if you just need to
Oh,
have
that's what I
it.
use it for.
Yeah, right.
So in the marketing for notaries community, every Monday morning, the first thing I try and do is get a marketing tip out to everybody so that
hmm
they've got something to focus on for the week marketing wise and lights a fire and all the things. But I use AI for that because I mean, let's be honest, at 7:30 on Monday morning, I am not my most creative.
Right, right,
So I'm
right.
chugging coffee like everybody
But
else, trying
it's
to.
amazing how when you do, ask AI, hey, give me an inspirational quote, how it might stimulate you to think of a better one or
Yeah.
to, create a whole article around
Absolutely.
something.
Yeah.
So yeah, as long as you're not a robot when you're using the robot and you
Right.
humanize it and you also, reflect on the human aspect of who you are, then, it can be a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Susie, I want to do a pivot here and
Mm-hmm.
talk about our favorite subject.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, it wasn't last week, but the week before, I did an hour-long training on fear. And we talked a lot about it in the Marketing for Notaries community in the Woo Woo Summer that we're doing. But I would love to hear your perspective on how fear can, as you would say, take over the driver's seat
Mm-hmm.
of our businesses and keep us
Yeah.
from scaling and keep us down, and why that happens, and maybe a tip to help us get through that.
Okay, sure. Well, first of all, I love the word woo woo. I think it's fun. And
Yeah.
I love that you called it the woo woo summer. What I love even more is the fact that the woo woo is starting to be backed up by science.
Oh, me too.
It's amazing
I
because
love
what
it.
used to be woo woo is now like science tells us that,
Mhm.
this actually works, this ability to focus your mindset on something or to manifest, to be intentional, to, all of these, these things that used to be like, oh, let's burn some sage and say our prayers, now it's starting to be proven that it works.
Those
And
kind
so
of
I
things
love
work.
that.
Yeah.
Yes. And so, yeah, for me, one of my favorite, I'm gonna just to go back to what Jen was asking me to talk about. One of my favorite ways to perceive fear is, fear is going to be there no matter what. It's going to show up every day of your life and everything that you do. And it's up to you to figure out how you can look at fear and the relationship you're going to have with your fear, which will determine, how much power it has over you. And this is a battle I have to fight with myself all the time. I didn't grow up in the era of diagnosed anxiety. I was like Gen Xer who drank from a garden hose and didn't come in until dark. But uh, but yeah,
Same.
there's definitely, especially now, so much anxiety out there. I mean, I can pull on my Instagram and see a million different fear-based posts,
Mhm.
and there's just so much noise. We were never meant to know what was going on the other side of the world. We were supposed to
Oh,
just know what's going on in our own little community. But once it's out there, you can't, like, put it back in the box, and so you say your prayers, you do what you can, but again, that relationship to fear, is something that you have to take control of so it doesn't control you.
so
And
tell them your theory
uh-huh.
about the driver with fear, because that's what it always really helps put it into
Yeah,
perspective, helps me understand it a little more when you say this, and it comes from um,
big magic.
Big Magic. Thank you. God,
Big
I'm driving me
magic.
nuts. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Elizabeth
Tell
Gilbert.
us about,
Yeah.
yeah.
So basically, she talks about the fact that, fear is going to be there. It's going to come along for the ride. You can't make it not be there. And so, what you have to do is tell fear, hey, listen, okay, we're going on this adventure. We're going to go down some roads that aren't familiar to you.
Like
And
marketing or
yes, or
talking about
marketing
your
or starting a
business.
business or
Yeah.
going to that networking thing. Hey, fear, listen, we're going on this ride. We're doing this new thing. We're going to go on an adventure. And you know what? You can come along because you're going to anyway. You can come along. You can be there for me to make sure that I know when I might need to have my antennas up, and notice anything that could harm me. But fear, you're going to have to sit in the back seat and you're
Mhm.
not allowed to co-pilot and you're not allowed to scream from the back to tell me what to do, and you're not allowed to touch anything. You can't touch the radio, you can't touch the air condition, and you can't touch the steering wheel. I'm in charge. I'm driving. Sit in the back and shut up, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of the way that I have to look at fear when I'm getting ready to go into that new space. Hey, fear. Okay, I hear you. Thank you, fear,
Yeah.
for wanting to take care of me. I really appreciate you for loving me and doing your job and protecting me. There are no lions, there are no tigers right now. I'm not going to get eaten. And so, let's keep this in
Yeah.
perspective, fear. You and me,
Yeah.
we're going to keep this in perspective. And we're
Yeah.
going to go in here. I'm driving. You
Mhm.
sit in the back seat.
I love that mental picture because it does give you something to think about in the moment and just be able to say, very quickly to yourself, all right, fear, hop in the back. I got this.
Mm-hmm.
Because we know in science and research has proven, I should say, excuse me, that the only way through fear is by action, that you
Mm-hmm.
can't wait to feel ready. You're never going to
Never.
feel ready for whatever that is, whether it's, starting a social media campaign or starting your business or walking into a title company or an estate planning office and, cold and all of those little tricks, like being able to say, get in the back seat or, I'm safe, reminding yourself you're safe, naming that little, that little bitch that can live in your head that we all have
Mm-hmm.
one, all those little
Yeah.
tricks. I love talking about those because I recall those in the moment and it really does make a difference. And it
Yeah.
gives me back a feeling of control. And as someone who's
Yeah.
a control freak, that's really important.
And you know what? As soon as you do it the first time and then the second time, by the third time, you're like, I know I can do this because
Yeah,
I've done it before. And
yeah,
you know what? Your fear also recognizes that. The fear is like, okay, I'm not going to come on so strong because I know we've done
mhm.
this together before. We've gone down this road now before. So I'm going to sit
Yeah,
down here and be quiet. I know I'm still here, but
yeah,
we both know that you're safe now.
yeah,
Um, the other thing that I just saw in the chat, I think Melissa maybe
yeah,
said
he
the idea
did.
that fear and excitement actually have the same physical response in your body. Like you get all sweaty and you start breathing different when you're excited, but you also do the same thing when you're scared. So if you could kind of switch, and part of that might be visualizing, instead of, oh, what if I say the wrong thing. It's visualizing, making a good connection, and then walking out of there feeling strong and confident because you did get to, meet up with
Yeah,
these people in this office or whatever.
yeah.
And so just saying, I'm excited. I'm excited that I'm on this new adventure. I'm excited
Uh-huh.
that I'm building my business. I'm excited that I'm going to talk to this person and that I do know my stuff. I'm competent and I'm ready to make these conversations happen. And I'm excited to learn. And I'm
Yeah,
excited that if I do make a mistake, I'm not going to make that same mistake again.
yes,
So I'm excited about all of it. And I'm
that's
excited to
awesome.
walk out of that office feeling strong and ready for the next
My God, Susie, I am fired up. I'm ready to go to a networking event or go sell something.
Yeah, right? I'm excited. And the more you say it,
Excited. Yes,
yeah,
it works. It
yeah.
works. Thank you so much for that. I think that was an important perspective to share. But guys, believe it or not, this hour is already over. It went by like that. I want to give a very special thank you to Amy Curtis for helping me monitor the participants, but especially to Susie for being our guest this week. We love when you come and hang out with us. You are welcome back, as you know,
I love coming. Thank
anytime.
you.
Anytime, come hang out with us. Thank you for helping me fill the gap with our other two fearless leaders, Matt and Laura, being away this week. I hope you guys have a fabulous week. Please take a moment after this call to fill out the survey and let us know what we can do to make this TNT call even better. I hope you guys have a fantastic week. We'll see you next Tuesday on TNT. Bye,
Thanks,
guys.
everybody. Thanks,
Thanks,
Jen.
Susie.
Hey, Jen,
Yeah.
Rochelle,
Hey.
I have been so